But you're just going to use a lacrosse ball. You can use a tennis ball, anything that you want today. So this will be one tool that you want to gather. Okay. Another tool is going to be like a towel or kind of a rolled up pair of sweatpants. It's not like super thick, but thick enough. We're going to put that behind the knee today too. So make sure you have one of those. And then I'll bring the band over here. With the band, if you have a band, rope, a belt, anything that you can loop, make sure it's secure. You're gonna have that while laying on your belly, and I'll explain the movement. But make sure it's long enough where it's like this. Anything out of the garage should work. All right, so the thing we're gonna talk about is hyperextension. So hyperextension of the knee. So we're trying to get that knee to relax enough, and right now, I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a good gap because my whole hand can fit underneath my kneecap right now, okay? So what I'm doing right now is I'm bringing the inside of my big toe even with my ankle, and then even all the way. So if I were to draw a straight line from my kneecap, I want it to be even with this. Sometimes we flop out like that. We don't want that, so we want that everything to kind of rotate. So this gets the hip in place, typically where we do things when we're playing sports or things go down when you're squeezing muscle. So this is where we want to be flexible. That way when we go too far and we make it go down, sometimes we push the threshold and it starts to get injured. So this stuff is pretty sensitive in here. It floats around, it builds up fluid, it does all kinds of crazy things. So as I'm talking here, you can kind of see my hand is getting under there less because I'm just sitting here relaxing. I'm going to show you the sexy leg here. So trying to keep that, make sure you keep that thing in line. While I'm doing that, you don't think about it, but a lot of us squeeze our quads, especially if we were athletes or we just use them all day. So we use this area a lot. So the more I can think and channel my inner Steve, my brain all the way down, I'm thinking about trying to find a flow from my brain all the way to my knee. And I'm trying to tell it that it's okay to relax right now. We don't need to like fight tension in the body, okay? That's super important. A lot of people don't think about that stuff, but to me that was a game changer of the mindset of trying to relax, okay? So now I can't really get a whole lot of my hand underneath there. There's still gap. I'm not Gumby, so it's going to take me a while. This can take people 10 minutes. It can take people 3 minutes. It can take people 20 minutes. It just depends on how much you can channel that and relax that entire quad area. That way your knee releases, okay? So I'm just going to take it right now because I'm pretty lucky. I worked out earlier, so everything's kind of warm. So it's going down a lot faster than it usually does, but I'm here typically, I want to stay here probably around 4 minutes is a good time, 5 minutes for now, and then we can up it when it feels better. So the first thing we're going to do, once we achieve that hyperextension, we're going to go over the high calf tennis ball, lacrosse ball, whatever you want. So now, once I got that hyperextension, I'm going to come here, and I'm going to shove this lacrosse ball right smack in the middle of my knee. So there's soft tissue here, there's a little guitar string here, and there's a little guitar string on the inside right here, okay? So those are the 3 quadrants I want you to think about today. So the first quadrant is the soft tissue right smack in the middle of the knee. This is uncomfortable because it's gonna squeeze your high calf and your hamstring. If you can, sit and do this, and then just try to bring your knee or your heel as close as you can to your body. This is as far as I'm going right now because it's screaming at me, so I'm just going to chill out again, trying to breathe through it and trying to channel that relaxation. Like, let the tennis ball be part of your body, or the lacrosse ball, or whatever you use. The more you let it sink in and just accept it, the faster this stuff works, okay? We're just going to hang out here for a little bit, okay? And we're going to pretend like we did that for a minute, okay? Once I'm done with that, I'm going to slowly come out of it, and now I'm going to go to that third quadrant, which is this little guitar string in here. You can see it. So I'm going to stick it right there. So halfway in the middle, halfway on that tendon, and now I'm going to come back, kind of have to have it lean. Sometimes it like squishes out, so if you want to hold it in with your hand, you can. But I'm gonna try to get it up there and hold it so you guys can see it. So I'm there. So now what I'm gonna do is when it's in here, this stuff kind of moves around with our kneecap. So sometimes it gets all bound up. So I'm gonna get my tibia moving. So I'm gonna move my foot east to west, right to left, whatever you want to call it. And I'm gonna go as far as I can. I'm not ever gonna push it though. I don't want to overdo it. Okay, we're just trying to relax, keep contact with the ground. It's hard to keep the toes on the ground, so that's the goal too. Okay, and we're there. Okay, 1 minute there, and then the next minute, we're gonna focus on this guitar string. So we're gonna try to get it to push that part of that tendon out. Right there, smack in the middle. Okay, so once we're there, again, we're gonna pull it back. This side's a little bit easier because we're more meatier on this side of the calf. The other side, there's less tissue. So we're gonna hang out there again, try to find that center, and now I'm gonna move my foot right to left. And man, it just gets all this area right here to kind of talk to each other or bark. And you're gonna do this for a minute too. So 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute in the middle, right, left. 3 minutes total on that knee, okay? Once you are done with that, we're gonna go down one leg and then you guys can just repeat this video for the next side. The next one's going to be a calf stretch with a forward, with a hip towards the wall. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna come over here and I'm going to put my foot as far as I want, and sometimes people have more flexible ankles. But I'm just going to put my foot on that wall, and I'm just going to hang out. So you see my hip is right here, okay? Sorry about that. And then my ankle's way down there. So I want this hip to try to meet where the ankle is. So I'm just keeping my chest upright, big full extension of the body. Find something to hang on to. I'm lucky I have a little ledge here. If it's a wall and you're doing this and you're trying to balance, it's not going to think about focusing on this stretch. So feel balanced. Feel like you have assistance in the upper body and it's not doing anything. And then once you're there, now I'm getting that hip forward. And I'm just kind of pushing it with that back leg. Good balance in my stomach. And I'm just trying to, again, from my brain all the way down to my calf. I feel it burning. But I want to keep this stiff and upright, and this is going to get that calf, okay? The calf is attached to the knee, so if you can get the calf stretched out more, the kneecap relaxes. It's the tug of war point. So your quads are big, they're pulling, and then the calves are pulling, and so the middle ground gets the brunt of it, okay? If you're once you're done with that, if you want to take an extra step, you're going to go 2 minutes in that position, so just hanging out. Once you're done with that, if you want the lower half, so your Achilles, so the bottom part of your calf towards your heel, bend your knee and try to push your knee while keeping that same position on the wall with your foot. And just breathe into it, thinking about relaxing the glutes, relaxing the calf. Try to think about Gumby ankles. Hang out there for a minute to 2 minutes. Either way, that stuff will definitely open up the lower half of your body. Those are your roots. We use our roots every day, walking, getting around, and we don't think about them, but they take a lot of punishment. Okay, so try to get that lower half done. And then after we're done with that calf stretch, again, 2 minutes in that position to 1 minute. It's up to you. We got the suprapatella pouch to kind of release. Okay, so this one I'm going to have Kelsey come in on this one. And I'm just going to hang out down here right now. So we have that patellar tendon down here. So this thing gets wound up because the quad is like contract, 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 contract. So it keeps doing this, right? And so right now when I'm doing that, it's making all these tendons and ligaments want to get yanked up here, okay? So there's like a little pouch on top of that kneecap, and that is we're going to try to release that pouch by putting pressure. If you see the top of my kneecap right here, okay? I got gross bony kneecap, so it's easy to see. But I'm going to put that lacrosse ball. You can kind of see where the different color changes on my skin. So right where that little mark is right there is where I want to put the ball first. Okay, again, just like the knee on the inside, we're going to go soft tissue there, and we're going to do 20 lifts. And then we're going to move the lacrosse ball to this guy over here, that teardrop looking muscle. And we're going to, it's just a dumb man terms, but basically that big muscle is attached to that kneecap here. We're going to try to get that tissue released by, and then we're going to do 20 leg lifts there, and then 20 on this side. And again, these leg lifts are for control. They're not for speed. 20 sounds like a lot, but it'll definitely work, okay? So you're going to put that ball down, and you can kind of see I'm going to pull my sexy leg out again. And we're going to put the lacrosse ball right on that middle part, and I'm going to relax. Support your upper body however you want. I try to relax and grip my teeth on this one. I'm going to come back, keeping pressure on the lacrosse ball, coming as far back as I can, and then that's 1. And then back up again, and that's 2. And I hear some gristling in there, some popping and cracking. That is totally normal. 4. And then I would do 20 of those. And then I would move to the inside of the leg here, bring that ball up, and it's on that big muscle now. And I'm going to do 20 more leg lifts. 1. And it might be in a different direction. You can kind of see that I'm pulling the heel more toward across the body. That's okay. Switch it up, whatever feels good. Can't really go wrong. And so I did 20 on that, and then I'll do 20 on the outside. And now my heel's coming more towards you guys. This one's super poppy. There's more stuff out here, but there's not a whole lot of support out there either, so just go with it. Take your time. 20 of those too. And that should do a good job at releasing that, helping the kneecap out. And then flexion gapping. So flexion gapping is with these sweats, a towel, anything you want. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get, like when we squish that tennis or lacrosse ball up in behind my kneecap, my knee pit. I'm going to do the same thing. So I want to get as much pressure there. So don't let anything unwind. You're going to pull back. And now I still kind of have that same gap as I did as the lacrosse ball, but this isn't really focused on the kneecap. Now we're thinking about pulling everything down this way, okay? So now it's a different kind of gap, and we're going to turn that tibia action. You just want right to left. So we're just turning, try to keep the foot on the ground. Sometimes mine comes up. You might get a little cramp in the arches of your feet on this one, so that means you've probably gone too far. So just kick it back. Again, this isn't going to happen overnight. This is something that's going to take time. I would say do that for 2 minutes, and man, now I can't even stick, the hand underneath the knee anymore. It's so relaxed, and it gets all that good stuff. And we got one more stretch for you guys. Sorry about the long video. This is the last one. This is the quad and hip flexor. Okay, so quad and hip flexor. People with knee problems, they can't do the normal knee or the quad stretches. So that's hard, right? If I said, hey, come do a couch stretch, you come over here and put your bum knee on the ground with lots of pressure, right? And you do this stretch. It's not comfortable on my kneecap. I'm an old man, and I played soccer a lot, so my knees are pretty shoddy. So I don't like to put pressure on there, and it's not necessary if you don't want to do it. Putting a pillow under your knee would probably fix it, but sometimes that doesn't feel good either. So the cure, the fix, get the band right there, okay? I'm going to keep my foot pointed like this. I don't want it to come off because then it'll slip off. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to relax all the way down, and we're going to pull that leg up as little as we want so we can come all the way back. And now I want to pull and hold on and relax. Don't squeeze anything. Try to relax through it. Hold that for about like 30 seconds. And if you want to go more, you can crank it up even more. Hold for another 30 seconds. That sometimes does the trick. And then slowly let it come down. Don't let it drop or kind of go berserk on the drop, because then we just go back to square one with a broken kneecap. So that is how you get the fire out, Brad. For whoever's out there that's listening to this video. Have fun, enjoy. Thank you guys. See you soon.